The story begins in 1959 in Lexington, America, where a new school is about to open. Before classes start, children are playing outside, but a quiet girl named Lucinda stands alone, staring at the sun. She hears a strange whispering sound that no one else can hear. Her teacher, Miss Taylor, soon calls the students inside and announces that the school's opening ceremony will take place the next day. She also introduces a special competition where the children must draw what they think the world will look like in 50 years. Their drawings will be sealed inside a time capsule and buried underground to be opened half a century later. The idea for the time capsule had come from Lucinda herself, and Miss Taylor praises her for it. While the other children draw pictures of space travel and robots, Lucinda does something unsettling. She fills her paper with endless numbers, writing as if she cannot stop. When Miss Taylor takes the paper from her, Lucinda looks deeply disturbed. The next day, during the opening ceremony, Lucinda stands apart from the other children, holding a balloon. As the time capsule is buried, Lucinda suddenly goes missing, leaving only her balloon floating in the sky. After a frantic search, Miss Taylor finds her in the school gym, injured and bleeding, having scratched more numbers onto the door with her fingernails, still haunted by the whispering voices.
Please, make them stop whispering.
The story then jumps forward 50 years to 2009, where we meet John, an astrophysics professor and widower, struggling to raise his young son Caleb on his own. On the day of his son's school anniversary, John rushes to the same elementary school where the time capsule was buried. Miss Taylor, now elderly, attends as a guest, and the capsule is opened. Each child receives one of the old envelopes, and by chance, Caleb gets Lucinda's paper filled with numbers. When Caleb looks at it, he begins to hear the same whispering sound Lucinda once heard, and notices a strange man watching him from a distance, who suddenly disappears. Later that night, John learns that Caleb has been hearing whispers through his hearing aid and had taken it off. John dismisses it as a malfunction, but then finds Lucinda's numbered paper hidden in Caleb's bag. Though Caleb was meant to return it to school, he secretly brought it home, and John, unaware of its importance, tells him to take it back and sends him to his room. John has been drowning in grief since his wife's death and often turns to alcohol to escape the pain. One night, while pouring himself a glass of wine, he accidentally spills it on his hand and then unknowingly places the glass on Lucinda's paper, leaving a circular stain. Inside that circle, John notices a set of numbers that catch his attention. Curious, he writes them on a whiteboard and rearranges them, eventually decoding a date, November 9th, 2001, with the number 2996 beside it. When he searches the date online, he is shocked to realize it refers to the 9/11 attacks, where exactly 2,996 people died. Disturbed, John writes down all the numbers from Lucinda's paper and begins analyzing them one by one. To his shock, every sequence reveals a real disaster: the 1985 Mexico City earthquake, the 1995 Oklahoma City bombing, and the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami, each matched with the exact death toll. John realizes these predictions were written in 1959 and sealed away for 50 years, making them impossible to fake. The next day, he tells his friend Phil about the discovery.
That 81 people are gonna die in some kind of tragedy.
He mentions that 3 disasters are still left, including one predicted to happen the very next day, killing 81 people. Phil dismisses the idea, accusing John of forcing meaning onto the numbers because of his grief, especially since John's wife died in a fire linked to one of the incidents. Hurt and angry, John storms out, though doubt begins to creep into his own mind. Seeking answers, he visits Miss Taylor, who remembers Lucinda as a quiet, distant child and recalls the disturbing moment when she clawed numbers into paper and the gym door. Miss Taylor confirms the sheet John shows her is the same one from 50 years ago, but her fading memory offers little clarity. When John asks for Lucinda's address, he learns she died years earlier, leaving him frustrated and disappointed. Back home, John calls the school to track down the workers who uncovered the time capsule. Meanwhile, Outside the house, two masked strangers approach Caleb, and a whispering voice draws him toward them. One man silently gives him a stone before they vanish. John rushes outside too late, takes the stone from Caleb, and warns him to stay away from strangers, unaware that something far more dangerous has already begun. John continues digging into Lucinda's past and searches online to learn how she died. He finds an old photo of her and discovers that she was once married, but later died from a medicine overdose. While he is reading, his sister Grace suddenly appears and tells him that their parents want to reconnect. John, still bitter about his broken relationship with his father, refuses and asks Grace to leave. As midnight passes, John remembers that Lucinda's paper predicted an accident that would kill 81 people that very day. He stays glued to the news all night, waiting for something terrible to happen, but nothing does. Slowly, he begins to believe that he imagined the meaning of the numbers. Drunk and exhausted, he finally falls asleep in the morning. Soon after, Caleb calls from school and says the school is closing early because of heavy rain and storms. John leaves to pick him up, but gets stuck in traffic, caused by an accident. While waiting, he apologizes to Phil on the phone. That's when John notices his Jeep's coordinates and realizes they exactly match one of the number sequences on Lucinda's paper. He suddenly understands that the extra numbers are not random, they are location coordinates. Horrified, John steps out of his car and sees an oil tanker crash nearby. A police officer tells him no one has died, but moments later the officer panics and runs. John turns around just in time to see a passenger plane crash into the ground. He rushes toward the wreckage and desperately tries to save people trapped inside as fire and screams surround him. Rescue teams eventually pull him away. Later, back home, John sees a news report explaining that a powerful solar flare disrupted the plane's navigation system, causing the crash and killing exactly 81 people, just as Lucinda predicted. Phil visits John and finally admits the numbers are real, but still warns him to stay away from future disasters. John refuses and vows to stop the next two events. That night, while Caleb sleeps, a masked man appears in his room and silently points out the window. Caleb sees a terrifying vision of a massive forest fire destroying everything, including their own house. Caleb screams, and John rushes in, thinking it's a nightmare, until he sees a strange man outside. John chases him with a baseball bat, but the man escapes. Soon after, John tracks down Lucinda's former home and discovers her daughter, Diana, and granddaughter, Abby. He follows them to a museum, asks Caleb to befriend Abby, and invites Diana for coffee. When John mentions Lucinda and the numbers,
She put this in a time capsule. It's a list of dates, events that I think she believed.
Then Diana becomes angry and leaves. John desperately tells her that another disaster will kill 170 people in New York, and that another will follow days later, but she refuses to listen. Still determined, John tracks the next location and hears news about a possible terrorist attack in New York. He alerts the FBI and rushes to the site, a subway station. Police are present, but the area isn't fully secured. John chases a suspicious man who turns out to be only a thief. Before John can understand what's happening, a high-speed train derails and crashes into another train, killing exactly 170 people. John barely survives. Shaken, he returns home to find Diana waiting for him. She explains that Lucinda once predicted Diana would die on October 19th, and after witnessing the train disaster, she now believes her mother truly saw the future. She decides to help John. Together, they go to Lucinda's abandoned house and study the final message on the paper. Diana realizes the last number might not be 33 at all, but a backwards letter E, something her own daughter often writes that way. Inside the house, they find walls covered with newspaper clippings of past disasters. Then John notices a painting showing God sending written messages to a prophet, hinting that Lucinda's numbers may not be predictions, but warnings sent for a greater purpose. Diana explains that her mother used to stare at the painting for hours, as if trying to understand its message. She then takes John to the same room where Lucinda was found dead. While searching, John finds nothing at first except a Bible. As he turns to leave, His foot hits something on the floor. When he picks it up, he is shocked to see a stone identical to the one Caleb once received from the mysterious strangers. The room is scattered with many such stones. Looking under the bed, John notices scratches on the floor, and when he lifts the bed, he discovers words, deeply carved into the wood by Lucinda's nails, everyone else. In that moment, John understands the true meaning of the double E in the final message. It stands for everyone else, meaning all of humanity. Outside, Caleb and Abby suddenly begin hearing whispers again. When Caleb looks out of the car, he sees frightening strangers approaching and calling Abby toward them. Under their influence, Abby unlocks the car door, but Caleb quickly honks the horn. The noise brings John and Diana running back, and the strangers disappear. Moments later, John spots one of the men hiding nearby and chases him with a gun, telling the children to lock the doors. The man calmly stands still, whispering, and when John demands answers, the stranger opens his mouth and releases a blinding light. When John recovers his vision, the man is gone. The next morning, John finds Abby coloring a picture that looks exactly like the painting from Lucinda's house, showing the Day of Judgment from the Bible with a blazing sun. John realizes the final disaster is connected to the sun. He rushes everyone to the MIT observatory, where he explains to Phil that a super solar flare is coming far stronger than anything before. Unlike previous flares that only disrupted communication, this one will release devastating radiation capable of destroying Earth itself. John even notices the sunlight growing unusually intense despite it being winter, confirming his fears. Overhearing this, Diana breaks down, knowing her daughter will die too. She tells John about a cave where they could hide, and although John knows survival is impossible, he agrees to go along to give her hope. Back home, John tells everyone to pack, but Caleb once again hears whispers and begins writing numbers uncontrollably, just like Lucinda did.
Caleb! Caleb, stop!
Seeing this, John remembers how Lucinda carved numbers into the school gym door years ago and realizes those numbers might reveal a safe location. He rushes to the school, removes the old gym door, and scrapes away layers of paint to uncover the faded numbers. While John works, Diana loses patience and leaves with Caleb and Abby to head for the cave. John chases after them, but loses track, and Diana's phone has no signal. At a gas station, Diana hears an emergency broadcast where the president warns of the incoming solar flare and urges people to take shelter underground, sending the nation into panic. Soon after, Caleb calls John from a public phone booth, and Diana shares their location, urging him to hurry so they can go to the cave together. John stops Diana and tells her that no cave on Earth can protect them from what is coming. He explains that the numbers carved on the gym door led him to Lucinda's house, and he believes something there can save the children. Diana refuses to believe him, and they argue over the phone. Suddenly, Diana notices a strange stone sitting on top of the phone booth, identical to the ones found at Lucinda's house. When she turns around, she sees the mysterious strangers abducting Abby and Caleb. Panicked, Diana jumps into her car and chases them at full speed, but she crashes into a truck and is badly injured. John soon arrives at the gas station searching for Diana and is led to the accident scene, where he finds her dying in an ambulance. Despite the doctor's efforts, Diana passes away. A nurse tells John that she died on October 19th at exactly midnight, fulfilling Lucinda's prophecy. As John grieves, he notices the same stone clenched in Diana's hand and realizes the strangers have taken the children. Filled with determination, John arms himself and rushes to Lucinda's house. There, he follows tire tracks into the woods and finds piles of the same strange stones. Soon, he confronts one of the strangers, but to his shock, Caleb and Abby appear unharmed, holding a rabbit. They tell John the strangers are not evil and are trying to save them. At that moment, a bright light fills the sky, and an alien ship descends to Earth. John finally understands that the strangers are aliens who came knowing Earth would be destroyed. They chose Caleb and Abby to preserve humanity on another planet. Caleb begs John to come with them, but
Only the chosen must go. Those who heard the call.
Heartbroken but proud, John tells Caleb that he has been chosen for a greater purpose. He gives him a locket with a photo of himself and Caleb's mother and says goodbye. The aliens reveal their true forms and take the children, along with many animals, onto the ship. The next morning, the end arrives. John spends his final moments with his parents and sister. Soon, a massive solar flare erupts, burning and destroying the Earth completely, and John dies along with the planet. In the final scene, the alien ship reaches a new world, where Caleb and Abby begin a new life for humanity. They run toward a glowing tree, full of light and hope, and the film comes to an end. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe so we can bring you more videos like this. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and click the bell.